Okay. Pick what kind of Smash character do you want me to import that you would like to see the first example of rigging?
Mm, maybe something like Wii Fit Trainer because they have like a pretty standard body, right?
Okay. Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's sort of like a basics thing.
Sounds good. I think
Literal,
that's
literal mannequin character.
Yep.
yeah. Okay, let me go
Uh,
to
Female, right? I think female for the long hair, right?
yeah, we can do that. It's like a ponytail, I think. Okay.
Yeah.
Wii Fit Trainer, I think is um, I guess I might not have her coincidentally her extracted, so let me just do that real quick. That's why I had Arc Explorer open just in case. Okay. We fit, and then is she the 01? I think she's
Yeah, she's
females
well,
usually.
she's
Zero
zero
zero.
zero. Yeah,
Okay. You said 01 or 00?
0 0.
Oh, okay. Okay, and so I'm gonna leave that open, and just going to extract her PNGs so I can open it in the thing. Not BNTX. Back to export textures. Okay. So now that I have that, let me close this so there's no conflict. And let me go to refresh, refit, and there we go. Okay, and how's my mic audio? It sounds fine for you guys?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
All right, so right here you can see in the bottom left in Blender, that's going to be where my keys are casted, so you can see what buttons I'm pressing or anything like that. Let's see. And if I register that I might have a hotkey that could be different for something, I'll probably indicate that to you. I think Rocket Raccoon's following with his own Blender right now, but we can figure that out later. So let's see, I'm going to import it now. So make sure I listed the plugin, and I have the Blender version right here, 4.0.2. So I'm going to import the model. I imported it into the collection here. And so I'm going to expand it, and then let's see. Gonna go into, I pressed numpad 5. If you don't have a 10 keypad on your keyboard, you might have less access to the different, see what I'm doing right here, the orientations. Um, if you guys don't have that, that's fine, but you can remap it to any other keys that you need to. So right now I have it in orthographic, so I can just see the model better. So right now I'm just gonna demonstrate. I went to pose mode by pressing 3. It doesn't say like the number there, but I think it defaults to 3, but for other modes I set it in the preferences to 4 for object mode, 1 for edit, and that allows me to just be more efficient. So I'm in I clicked the model, and then within object mode I clicked the skeleton in pose mode, and right now I'm going to, you can see right here, I clicked up here in the top right for the textures mode. So I'm going to click, and you'll see I'm going to just press R to show the rotations, and you guys obviously have probably seen this before. And then I'm going to go right here to show. It looks like they kind of rigged her groin very strangely. So if you ever, to reset any kind of rotation, you would press Alt and then R. Wait, let me see. Yeah, Alt R should be working, right? It literally says it right here as well. Oh, I must have clicked a different bone afterwards. Yeah, leg C, because I did not rotate leg C. So you see up here, it seems that there's 2 bones right on top of each other, so that tripped me up. Let me go right here, and I have in my key map preferences numpad decimal, and it immediately brings me to focus on the bone that I was selected on, which is also right here where my mouse is. Can you guys see my mouse too, or no? Because I think it could be disabled on.
No, I see your mouse.
Oh, you saw it? Okay. Let me just make sure my display is also displaying it on OBS. 1 second. because sometimes it has the option to hide your mouse. Okay, properties. Okay, capture cursor, perfect. So that's good. So yeah, we saw that bone was on top of each other, but the hip was right here. It was this bone that I had moved, the waist. So if you press Alt-R, it'll snap it back to its default position, which means that's its resting pose. Any of these bones, how they are right now, is its resting pose. Which you can go to right here, the data object data properties, which is this green man right here, and it's in pose position, but you can switch it to resting pose, and I'll show about that regarding the cats plugin soon. So I moved it. You can do reset the pose, like I said, from the rotation, or you know, you're mostly going to do rotations, especially for Smash modding, for paint weighting and everything. Not really location, unless you're seeing a stray vertice that's connected to the source middle of the whole center of the grid. So yeah, which is all right here. Anyway. So now that we have that covered, let's see. I'm going to go into paint weight mode so you can kind of see. And let me know if I'm saying anything that maybe you guys might be aware of, or you know, I'm just lollygagging on one spot too long. So you can also click right here, this arrow, and you can change it to sort by name if you want to track the bones in the vertex group. So this is your vertex group list right here, which is in the object data properties in paint weight mode. So I went to paint weight mode, by the way, by clicking on the object properties and mesh, and then I pressed 7 because that's what I had it hotkeyed to. And if you don't have it hotkeyed, you would just click this menu up here and click it every single time. But you probably don't want to do that. So right here, it's not going to show anything as weighted because I'm not on a vertex group unless I go to one that corresponds to the weight. So let's see. So let me just go to bust. And you can also search, so bust. And I'm sure you guys are very familiar with Smash naming conventions of skeletons. So bust right here, you can see what it was weighted to, but it's not going to be as clear like why it's weighted like that or whatever unless you do it manually yourself. So, okay, we've seen all the weights, we've seen where the vertex groups are. Now I'm going to remove all of the weights. Are you guys fine with that now that I'm going to start paint weighting?
Yeah, that's cool with me.
Okay, so let me go into Cat's Blender plugin right here because I think there's something that allows you to delete all weights. Show more options. Okay, let's see. Delete. No, not zero weight bones. Okay. So it doesn't have delete all weights. But let me show while this is rigged actually. So if you go right here, and for example, if you had an A pose instead of a T pose character, pretend this is like 30 or 45 degrees and whatever. So you would click the two bones that you did, shift click, and you would click in the Cat's Blender plugin, apply as rest pose. If you wanted to make it from A pose to T pose, you would obviously put the arms up, right? And so now this is the default resting pose that it does. So if I were to click this and move it here and press reset rotation, it would just snap it back to there. But I'm going to Control Z because I want it in T pose for Smash. Okay, so right now I'm going to just try deleting all of the vertex groups. I'm going to click here in the outliner or scene, and then let's see. I think I'm just going to remove all of these expressions and then simplify them all. So that's going to take everything away. Let me see what her default is. So that would be that, and that would be that. So I think that's her default. No? Oh wait, yeah. No, there's one more face object, which would be... I'll just choose one brow. Yeah, right here. Okay. So right now I'm just, again, deleting expressions because they're unnecessary meshes. There we go. So I don't know if she's missing eye sockets or that's just her normal face, but I'm going to keep it like that because that's what's fine for now. And then I'm going to merge with Control J. I just selected all, click and Shift select all of her meshes, Control J to merge it into one, and now I can just work like this. So now all the vertex groups are on this single mesh. But they should have been also for all other meshes, but now it's just simple. So let's see. I'm going to, I think if I delete all the vertex groups, it might not take away the weights. So I'm trying to just verify that. Let me double check. Bust. Yep, it took it all away. So I'm gonna start from scratch. So what I like to do is use the hip as a core starting point. So right here I'm gonna expand this so my hip is visible, which is right here actually. But these are the legs. So you're never gonna, in case you might be unaware, you're not really going to ever rig to the leg C in Smash Ultimate. Oh, I'm noticing actually in my feedback. I think, oh Zarek, your mic, if you can mute it.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, it's been having feedback for a while. I should have recognized that earlier. Oops.
Dog, are you underwater? No, just playing.
He's in his car apparently. Let's see. So hopefully that wasn't too. Well, actually, I think I could probably split the audio levels when I get into the video editing. Anyway, so right here, let's see. So I'm gonna start from hip right here at the core, and I'm gonna work from there. So I'm going into, I went to object mode, going into weight paint mode, and then I'm starting from hip. So I'm creating that vertex group, and then I have the hotkey V, which goes into vertex selection, and it usually selects all the vertices all at once. But you can also click right here, which is face paint mask. So there's vertex selection and paint mask. And then it's all selected right now. You can show it right here, select and then none, and you'll see it's not all visible. I'm going to press A and it selects all. So I'm going to press V because it pops up this menu right here, which is that mode, and I'm going to click assign. So I'm going to start and assign it all to hip as a base. And let's see, so it's hip as a base, and then you're going to work off of that. So if I'm going to start, I'm going to go up. If you can go up or down from hip, but I'm going to go up for this demonstration. So for waist, let's see, I'm going to have to create that vertex group. And let's get into that bone. So right now, obviously it does nothing. You can see the skeleton moving right now. So I'm going to go into, since I don't want to see all these vertices, I'm going to go into this mode, paint mask face select mode. And then notice I'm still in orthographic. So I'm pressing numpad 1 for the front view, and I'm pressing control numpad 3 to go to this view. This is like a view I like to work off of, but you can go to opposite obviously. So I'm going to go to gradient right here. I'm going to click back into object mode, click on the skeleton in object mode, and then press pose mode on the bone that I want, waist, and then I'm going to press, this, you clicked on pose mode on the bone, then you press shift click onto the mesh that you're trying to work off of, and now both the bone and the mesh is selected while you're in weight paint mode. And if you need me to re-clarify that later, because it is something sometimes tricky, let me know. And so you'll see while I'm rotating with R, it's not doing anything obviously because nothing's weighted. So I'm going to set it here. And keep in mind you can use the dial if you want it here, but I'm not going to use it until I need to. I used to only ever work on the dial until I realized I can use hotkeys like R and S to scale, etc. So I'm back in gradient right here, R. And then what I'm going to do is, since it's in linear right here, that's what I like to use generally. So imagine it just like a linear gradient, and it works and it brings it all. And sometimes you just want to go like this. And notice the rigging was weird, how it was with her groin before. That was just how either they had a rigging flaw when the developers were working, or they had another intention. So you see right here, it's on waist, and you can see how the hip is manipulated inversely. Now, I might want to make it weight 0.1 and strength 1, and you can always make it reduced if you don't want it to be as sensitive. right here. So let's see. If I go like this, I'm trying to see, okay, that's not what I want. But keep in mind, it's only working with one other bone. So I'm going to go back to that strength and just see. I don't like how it lifts up. So for now, I'm going to see how that moves like that. So if I don't like it in that direction, I'm going to move it back to a little bit weight. But I don't want it to be that sensitive. And you can also change the fall off, by the way, right here. I'll put it on, we'll put it on smooth for now. But right now I'm on 0 weight, so I'm gonna put it this way a little bit. And yeah, I need to do less strength, but it's fine like that, right there for now. And then let me go into a different orientation. I'm gonna reset the bone position, go this way. And then I'm gonna say, hey, do I want it to look like more like this when she's doing that, so it's more natural? Do I want it to affect her hips as much? And so right now I'm gonna go here and just focus on not bothering the hip as much. I'm gonna make it a little bit more strength. Wait, but see right here how it's affecting, if I do that linear curve, see how it's affecting all right here? You don't want that, right? So if you go into tab mode, the skeleton's going to be the same position as the last was, but right now I'm going to deselect what I'm not going to be working with. And keep in mind, if I do this, it might have it on the other side still. And that's because I could not be in X-ray mode, but I was in X-ray mode, so it affected. But I'm going to show you right here, if I was not in X-ray mode, it's just going to do one side, right? And you might not realize it in some orientations. So just make sure you take account of that, because then you might do work on one side and realize, great, I wasted my time. And have to control Z as much as you can. Oh, and let me just put in my preference, showing you preferences right here. If you go to System, you'll see right here, undo steps is 100. You know, it kind of correlates to the...
I can't see your preferences.
You cannot?
No.
Let me see. Let me, it must be just the Discord. I know OBS is recording my screen and not the... just the app, but let me go to the settings of this.
Sorry if I interrupted you.
No, you're good. I want you to be able to see. Let me see. I only see stop streaming. I'm not saying, what? Let me see. Change windows, okay. Let me go to screens. Yeah, it was on the app. Alright, you see it now? You should, right?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, perfect. So, if you let me go back to the preferences, edit preferences, and then if you go to the system tab right here, you'll see undo steps is 100. I think it defaults to 32 or something, but I like to have it at 100 because oftentimes I might need to go back that far if I realized I wanted a previous state that I did not save at. And so it's at 100. Let's see, and you can have these render settings if you want. Optics is the best. Anyway, it takes the CPU's cache and maybe RAM. So anyway, so we're in X-ray mode, and we went to edit mode because we want to deselect the arm when we're doing this gradient highlight. So now, see how we're in this paint mask mode? Now it only has it selected the things that we want. We're also not going to want the legs right here, at least. Okay, let me pull out this, bring this a little this way, and pull out this as well. So this is the waist vertex group, okay? So like I said, I'm going to pull this a little bit that way, a little bit. Try the other side. That's how it looks best. And this is just rough for now. You know, you can always do refining later. And also just for this demonstration purpose. So we have the waist pretty much. I think we did all the directions that matter. You can also do, if you click this, you'll be able to do, you know, weirder directions, because you might want to, because some characters do drawing movements for expressive purposes, or just that's what they do. So you see right here, yes, it looks a little harsh, so you could refine that a little bit. But you see how it must be something not weighted to anything except for that weight. So that's why you don't want to make those specific corrections until you add more vertex groups. Because if there's only one other vertex group and you take those vertices that are weighted away from it, you're basically going to be working with something that's going to be weighted to only one thing and then eventually nothing. So you just want to iterate, yeah. Iterate your vertex groups so you have room to work with things. It kind of makes more sense once you start practicing and working with it. But anyway, so I went from hip, I went to waist, and I went to bust. Or I'm going to bust now. So I want to click on bust bone right here. And then going into this mode, pressing object mode, shift clicking the mesh. Pressing 7 to go into the weight paint mode. Yeah, there we go. And you can probably see things down here. I might need to scale this up, so let me just verify that. Font size. Yeah, that looks a little better. Okay, so going in this, pressing R, nothing's obviously working, but I want it to go up here. So you can tell that I only selected up here in bust because that's what I want it to be. So I'm going to go, like I'm in gradient right here, I want it to be 1.0 weight. And then, let's see. No, it's acting a little strange. Like it's not acting like it's from one direction. Okay, now it is. So right here, you can see. So the bust might overlap right here, so I'm gonna add a little bit more vertices. And I might want it in face mode sometimes. Okay. Let me add more actually, just to get more leeway. So right here, just make sure. And if you ever wanted anything 1.0, you would just select the amount of faces, weight, assign 1.0. Go back to this, paint mask select. See how I'm just gradually making the bust look natural as you can. But if you get too much weight going down, it might look wrong. So let me, now that most of this is 1.0 up, I have a little less strength, so I can do it more gradual, and you can change the fall off like I said. I'm keeping it linear right here. Now, the weird part is it lifts her back right here, but you're trying to find a middle ground that looks okay. Let me add a little bit more right here. Okay. And let's see what the other side looks like. I think it's based off of how her bone is placed, which is why they made it look like that. I think if it was more back, it wouldn't be so jarring, but let me add more weight here to see, yeah. So if it looks weird one way with more weight, then you're gonna wanna add it the opposite way and see if that looks better. And now see how her ponytail is getting in the way and her head. We're done with this. We only need this to be 1.0 for now. So we have weight to use for future vertex groups. So let's see right here. I guess this could be the best that this joint works with right now. So we're gonna have to leave it at that, roughly. And then we'll always iterate after. So I'm gonna reset it. Well, actually not reset, yeah, reset. Then go this direction, see what we can do with there. You know, sometimes you think, oh, this is the bust, it's going to be exclusively, but sometimes you might have just subtle weight to make it look a little bit more natural when she does certain rotations. So even here, like, you're not going to want it like this unless it was a shirt, right? Because then the shirt would come up maybe. But I'm going to rotate this way. And just make it a little bit more organic. But keep in mind, if you think about it skeleton-wise, you know, her rib cage is going to be there, so you're not going to want it to be so flexible of a rib cage. I'm just trying to make it look as natural as possible, and we can work more later. So I think this bust bone works. Now I'm going to add, what would be nice is the neck bone. Well, you could, actually not the neck bone, you would do the arms. So I'm going to keep the neck vertex group there, just so I don't have to retype it again, but I'm going to work with the other vertex group. So I'm going to start with ClavicleL. Clicking, focus, here it is, ClavicleL. Okay, so boom, object mode, shift click, weight paint, and then you're going to gradient, but you're not going to want to select all this stuff, so let's see. The reason why I'm saying why is it doing this is because if I'm pulling from this side, oh, I see, so it should be pulling like this, yeah. So I was starting at the middle of the mesh, that's fine. Anyway, so let me go back to full. And then, let's see, let me select the parts that I know I'm going to be working with. Definitely not this half. And definitely not this, this bust right here. Might just want a little bit, just in case there's some subtle weight that you might need to look natural. So just keep that in mind. Maybe right here a little bit. And that's on the other side because of X-ray mode. Okay. And so, and if you want to work more minimalistic, you can press Control Alt Space. I'll just set you in this mode. But just keep in mind you won't really have those other windows that you might need. Let me see. I think there's another one. Yeah, it's just Control Space, and it leaves these windows. So that might work, but you will be absent of the vertex groups on the side. So just keep that in mind. So I'm going to work right here. I'm just dragging until it makes the most sense. And see how it's coming here a little bit and affecting this, but it still looks a little bit natural. Just add that just in case. And you can always touch this up later. So this is the clavicle, but you'll see right here, it's not right in that orientation. So let me reset, go up, and I'm gonna see, it's very harsh right here. So you can either do one or both things. You can do a little bit strength and then work from there, but you'll notice the threshold of hardness with the weight is already passed too far. It should be only hard probably right here, so you have gradient room to work with. So I'm going to go right here to reduce some of that. And keep in mind this is interchanging with the vertex group bust. So that's the variables you're working with, bust and this arm. So I'm going to go back here, and the weight is just a little bit, make it a little bit gradual. And let's see. You guys might be used to drawing on your paint weighting, but that's why I'm showing you that gradient is a very maybe underutilized, but I utilize it a lot to make sure everything's properly made. So I'm gonna gradually do this. Here comes the tricky part when it blends with the body. You don't want it to be too steroids of a shoulder, right? So I'm just gonna go back here and then take some of this off. Well, I think we got this part worked out right here, so I'm gonna take that off. Just see what I can do. Okay. See, even when she goes like that, it's still not gradual. So let's see what we can do. A little bit more. Okay, and I'm gonna add some weight back here because I guess when your arm goes up, you know, you have other muscles that go along with it. But you see right here too, because these vertices were not merged, it had an issue because of, and you have to keep in mind the meshes, how they're separate. So it's going to have this, and you're not going to want to deal with that. What you could do with Smash models most times is also merge all the vertices. I'll do that just now. Let me just revert so I can make sure I got back to where I need to be. So none of them are distorted based on the weight right here. This is her shirt right here. So I'm going to click all. I'm going to click mesh merge by distance, and it defaults to the 0.001. And so there should be no more gaps and seams. And these seams, by the way, are usually made for the UV seams for UV mapping and texturing. So I'm going to click right here in object mode and pose mode. Then it's already defaulted to that bone. And now I'm going to shift click the mesh to go back. So this is still selected. Okay. And now look, see, because I had clicked A when I selected all of the vertices in edit mode, now my paint mask is selecting everything. So you have to go back right here. That's why you might want to have merged the vertices sooner so you don't have to edit your face selection. Okay, right here. Let me add a little bit more right here. Okay. And so, we're getting closer. let's see if it's worth it to soften this shoulder a bit more. So you might want it like that. I don't recall what her default shoulder, how much it looked like, but usually when it's 1.0 weight, I mean it's right here. So whatever it's modeled as in its rest pose is what it's going to look like. But so if we're not working with deformations of helper bones and anything like that to compensate, we're going to just have to make our best judgment. So right here, it looks most natural, similar shape to that still. And it might deform while your shoulder goes up and compresses against your other skin. So let's see. Okay. And notice this is clavicle, so it's rarely going to move much, ever. I just want it to look as best as I can in a lot of directions, just so I find it's the best way in my experience to make things look. Yeah, the clavicle is barely going to move. It's more of a helper bone in a way, in my opinion, for Smash. Because no character is going to dislocate their arm like this. Anyway, so this looks good right here. I'm going to control space to go back so we can get those vertex groups. And I actually did not show all orientations of this. So let's look at right here how it looks here. Rotate, move this way, go back here. So see how it clips like that? You're not going to want that. So let me go back here and clear that up a bit. See how it's so harsh in here? You don't want it to be so pushing into the skin, so let's move this up. A little more strength so it doesn't take base. And you can kind of see how it's kind of isolating it to the region it needs to be now. Sometimes it might be too much like that. But again, this clavicle is kind of a special bone compared to all the other ones. It's not really moved as much, so this is probably a harsh extreme. But I still like to clean up anyway, as best as I see fit. So, let's see what I can do. And I'm not going to spend too long on things, because I know we have time to get to other stuff. It seems like when I was doing the linear gradient, it affected some of this. See right here, but luckily since this is 1.0 weight, I can just click it all back. But just keeping that in mind when using the linear gradient, it might affect others. So I might want to take all of this off since that just needs to be 1.0 for now. And then this is the shirt, but it can just be a bit more natural. There we go. Now if I gradient this, it's going to make that affect that, so let's take that off a little bit. There we go. You can also do like, there's like masking that you can do, but we're not really going to go into the masking, like custom masking and stuff. So I'm going to click this right here. Okay. And honestly, it's more or less fine enough right now. We can always refine it after, so I think there's nothing else to do, especially because this is such an extreme movement. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there for now. Okay. I'm going to rotate it the other way, see how that looks. See, it's a bit too harsh here. Actually, not harsh. Yeah, it's harsh in how it looks, but it needs to be more weight. Do this so. Okay. And you can always do some averaging, but when you do these specific things right here, I'll show. So I'm going to increase it with my right bracket. You can do some averaging, but you're going to want to do smaller strength, so that smooths it out a little bit. But honestly, it's so precise and unnecessary at this level that I like to just keep it to gradient because it blends everything that much more naturally. And I don't think we need to work with this part right now. Okay, this is fine right here. So we're just going to test one last rotation. How does it look? There's just this part right here, right? So let me get this. And smooth it out a little bit. A little less strength. Okay. That looks more natural. Okay. And by the way, if you're ever too far out and something happens with your how far you are zoomed in, or just you want it to be more locked into what you're focused on. I have a button that I focus in the outline and focus here, and sometimes it defaults to F, but for me it's numpad decimal. And see how it goes right here? So now I'm centered in what I was focused on. And that works for vertices, bones, anything that you're selected on. So I think let's see, we might have done enough with the clavicle bone. Just making sure right here needs to add a little more. Gradient. See how so many bones are in my way right now? So I'm gonna click this. Not that. Let's see. Going to click. Where's armature? Yeah, right here. So I could just toggle all that off, so I don't have to see it. And I'll get back to what my bones look like, to what I prefer in a second. Well, first I'm gonna make this a little more red. I'm gonna make it less, so it has something more to work with. Okay, there we go. Now this. There we go. And I'm trying to figure out and gauge when I should move on, because I don't want to spend all day, correcting. Because sometimes correcting is better toward the end, not at the beginning. But that's enough for now. Now I can't reset the pose or rotation unless I bring back the armature. Okay. So you see my bone shapes, right? Sometimes you're used to it being an octahedral, but right now it's I think wire for me. Let me show you. I need to go back into pose mode. So object, then pose, and then if I go right here, so it's stick. Wire is much more skinny, but I like to see the end and the beginning of the bone, so that's why I stick to stick. But octahedral is probably the most common seen one. Can work with that too. It just obstructs things. I mean, look at her face. It's so many bones. So I'm on stick right now. Okay, and I think we moved on from clavicle for now, so I'm going to move into shoulder. I actually think I'm not going to do the other side just so we can save time, and of the videos that I sent, it shows how to mirror your weights to the other side, which we'll get to. So let's see, object mode, select the ShoulderL. Well, actually, you know what? I'm gonna pause right here since we've talked for a bit. Anything you guys have to say or questions? I don't want to ramble on for infinitely before anyone has anything to say.
Yeah, only question I had was about the mirroring, but you just answered it. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sometimes, actually, a lot of times I've not mirrored it because I didn't see exactly how. But there are methods, and we can go through that probably another time, just because I think this might take a minute. And then also the video that I have linked shows exactly how to do it. So yeah, we can touch base on that I think later. All right.
When you're doing the weight painting, right?
Mm-hmm.
You say you use linear when you're using the gradient tool, but do you ever use the radial?
Radial? Yeah, I actually do sometimes. It's also my other form of like touching up, like doing some touch-ups. I just like to stray away from radial because it's similar to the smear, average, blur, and draw. They're all so precise on one zone. Radial is less precise because it still gets a lot more volume, but linear is more like smooth. how it treats all of the mesh, I would say. So let's just work with it, and I'll show an example. I mean, you've probably seen how it manipulates the mesh. Oh, well, I'm on shoulder. So let me go into shoulder, and then I'll show you. Okay. So object mode, click the skeleton. I'm on the bone. I'm in pose mode. Object mode again. Shift click the mesh. And 7 to go to weight paint. So now I'm selecting all right here. Sorry if that was too fast, but you know it's going to happen many times, that same process to get to the next bone and rotate the next thing. So we have the vertex group right here, rotating a bit. Don't want it too far because then when you linear gradient, it's could affect other things. I'm gonna do this just in case because it still might overlap. Okay, gradient, linear, strength. We're on the right vertex group. Let me change my fall off back to custom and see how that may differ. Custom might be a default custom, by the way. I don't recall making that shape. So, yeah. So we're going, it's looking good. So, you know, if you start from here, it's going to start the hard 1.0 at this root right here. And then it'll be more gradual as you go on here. But I'm trying to gauge the best starting spot to drag this gradient line. Okay, so now that it's like this, I'm going to move it down a bit more. Now I don't want it to affect all this while I have my arm down, so I'm going to take that away. Okay. More or less, that's pretty good weights for this orientation. And we're going to go up. It's not the worst here, but I think we can still gradient smooth out that top shoulder. So let's bring that strength down, and then let's see what happens if we go there. See, the hard threshold was too far deep in, so I'm going to move it inversely, bring it this way, and start further this way. Go back. Okay, going up. Still looks a little hard right here, so I might just soften that up a bit. And then, okay, it looks good right there. And so those two orientations, it would look as natural as can be, but let's see if it should affect this at least a little bit, right? See, it just pushes it downward into it because of this core right here. So this might just be the best it's going to look for those two orientations. Now we're going to rotate. So if we want to tend to that radial, like I said, let's see if we can manipulate it to show how radial may affect it. So if I do this, you know, it tightens like that, right? Let's see. You know, it hardens like that. So this is not the best example to demonstrate how linear is more trustworthy and smoothness. But maybe you'll see on the application that I'm doing things with. Because I probably might get to radial if I need it at one point. I'm not exclusive to linear. So I'll get to it as it applies, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So right now we have this. Okay, we're still in linear, so I'm going to rotate it. Different orientations. That's not too bad. Let's see what we can do. So yeah, again, to emphasize, the linear is good for smoothness. If I ever draw on anything, that means it'll like draw, you know, right here. It does that, right? So it makes things poke out and just some vertices. It's not going to be as consistent if you're using gradient, linear, and you're drawing, because then it's going to have some vertices, you know, unless you have some spots that you know are just too harsh and you just want to take care of it, like it's a spike. but I would just use gradient as I'm going. So right here it's like this. You know, some movements might be very extreme. Sometimes it's good to paint weight in extreme movements though. For example, you don't have to always paint weight in T-pose. The last mod that I did was Goku, and because something was looking off in a specific part of an animation due to how he was distorting himself, I had it posed. I just had him in that pose in the animation, and then I just paint weighted his whole like upper body, and it still looked normal back in T-pose. So it helps like animation corrections to do outside of T-pose sometimes. Okay, so I'm gonna move it back. So this has been so far the most seamless, I would say, paint weight that hasn't needed so much correction, just by chance, I would say, or luck. This is fine, you know, until we review it later. Yeah, so I think we can move on to the next one. So I'm clicking the skeleton. I'm in ArmL, object mode, shift click the mesh, and then I know Zarek's going to be interested in the hand, perhaps, correlating to Mr. Game & Watch, so we're almost there. We're actually right before there. So now ArmL, I'm going to create that vertex group. Okay, move it down, and put a gradient way up. Notice I'm only selecting what I'm probably going to be working with. So gonna start moving my strength a little down. And you gotta kind of take into account deformations, right? You know, we don't have helper bones to really help with deformation so much, so we're just gonna gauge what would look natural in that pose. So I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna move it a bit. It could just be a smidge potential gain right here. Let me isolate it more. Okay, so let's see. Increase a little bit. So I might want to take away that face. I think to take away the face, you can press, so I just pressed L and it did linked, so it linked everything else that was connected. Remember, all these vertices of this mesh right here is merged, so that's why it linked all that. If I press Shift L, it'll deselect. I want to be able to just deselect that one face. Now, keep in mind, I last modded in April, so I hadn't been doing paint weighting since, oh, actually not April, since March. So a few months now, but I recall there is a way to just toggle off some faces. Well, let me go to select. You can also do the circle select. Oh yeah, so let's try that. So see how it's just this? You can deselect like that. Now notice I'm pressing middle mouse to try to rotate or pan. It locked me in until I pressed escape to get out of that. But anyway, so let me go back to C, which was the hotkey it showed. I'm gonna click select. I was middle mouse apparently is the same thing as shift select. Clicking escape, pressing C, escape, so I can move again, like that. Okay, escape. And that's what I want to work with, right? So let's see right here. And I actually want to reduce this edge right here just so I can get some more weight right here. Bringing that weight back. Gonna take this out. Okay. You know, this is just specific. Your rigs doesn't have to be perfect, but there's just something to think about if you ever want to be more specific about corrections. There we go. And it can smooth out more as time goes on, like right here it could be a bit more. Alright. The pose is good. Let me go this way. Obviously not good. So let me bring some of these selections back. Okay. Gotta bring some strength up. Actually, I'm gonna bring the strength back down so I can just... No, I'll bring it back up. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, brings it back here. Okay. That's fine for now. And you can also go up with numpad 7. Go right this orientation. See how I'm dragging right here and nothing's being manipulated, where even though you'd think it would? It's because it needs to connect with the other vertice of the edge. So this edge goes all the way deep in here. So in that instance, you might want to do a radial one to get from the core outward, right? So I'm going to press numpad 7, and then, but it's a bit too sensitive. Let me go down here. And then you can also go in wireframe mode. Now it's not showing through it. There's actually this is weight paint overlay. Let's see opacity. No, that's not the transparent. This is a plugin, I believe. And let me do active. This is a good color. So you can see the color grid right here. Okay, let me go back. So remember before it was like navy blue when it was no weight to anything, right? But if you want to discern even better the whole gradient, you can set it to active. And there's a way also with not the plugin. Let me just see. Either this is a add-on plugin which I can show, or this is just how modern Blender has merged that menu. But yeah, so there's none active at all. I remember this like exact thing in default Blender. So yeah, I'm just going to show it for demonstration purposes, the color difference, how stark it is when it's off right here. So I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go to, I'm in radial, so I'm going to put some weight in there. And see how it can just add like that, and then you can go back right here, and then add some weight here, or reduce rather. But like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, and clipping is sometimes desired when we're trying to mimic something. So right here, clipping's fine. It's not going to be as noticeable, and it kind of blends with the skin better. So I just clicked on undo a bunch of times to show when you could do radial, when there's like hidden vertices. Oh, and what I was getting at was I was trying to find the plugin I had that allows you to see through the mesh in paint weight mode, because usually it's opaque, as you can see here. So you can see where the vertices are. And you can also additionally just select, you know, a couple. Let me go back to texture mode. You can select, you know, just a few vertices and just work like that, and go to vertex mode. And sometimes you could just manipulate just those vertices like this. Usually it's faces, I think, but you can still add weight to a vertex, not just face. Anyway, let me go back. Okay. So we're good on that rotation, good on that rotation, more or less, but let me actually just smoothen that. Now the elbow's pretty much never actually going to be rotating this way. So you know what? I'm not gonna correct this, because it's literally never going to move like this in any way, unless your arm's broken somehow. Okay, got that. So we could maybe add a little bit more here and it could clip, but that's just a recommendation. Alright, moving on to the hand finally. Clicking the skeleton, expanding, HandL, object mode, shift click. Alright. Let me pause again. Do we have any questions or inquiries?
Thinking about it, how hard is it to like rig a hand in Blender? Like, is it a big pain? I know we're getting to it, but just kind of want an opinion beforehand, you know?
Yeah. I know Zark's probably definitely considering it too. So it's basically the same thing as we've been doing. You're isolating, and it's even on a smaller scale and less vertices to work with, or just less, I would say, real estate to work with, and how things deform. Because you're just working about how this joint rotates, this joint. It's just a lot of, I would say, much more iteration on a smaller scale as what we've already been doing.
Okay.
So it's just, you know, rotate, isolate with the faces, and it's less vertices to work with. And then, let's see. Oh, I guess Zarek had to go right before his favorite part.
Damn.
Oh well, because he said he was going to a like a movie, but oh well. Anyway.
You said you were recording it anyway, right?
Yeah, so that's probably what he might have relied on. Okay, so I'm on the hand right now. And I guess Wii Fit has some kind of a bone here. I'm just curious what that is. Arm twist, L. Yeah, so usually I see these helpers bones or H underscore bones never have any weight in Smash Ultimate. So I never weight to those helper bones. But I guess they have some kind of constraint, maybe. Anyway, so I'm on hand L. I'm rotating it. And object mode, shift click the mesh. And let's see. Hand L. Full weight. Oh, I undoed and it didn't, and it undoed my renaming. So sometimes if you undo after making a vertex group and you try to do something in the Blender scene, and then you realize that was such a preemptive undo, so it undid the naming of the vertex group, what I like to do is I make the vertex group name, I click draw, and I just click in the space. So if it ever undoes, it doesn't undo the name, and then I have to type it every single time. And rather, I just, it undoes the drawing in the space, and it still is at the position of my, the text right here is good. Maybe you don't understand it right now, but you can probably backtrack in the video or ask questions if you need. So I'm gonna use the gradient linear and do what I've been doing for this orientation. Okay. So I think you can kind of see right here how when I set it right here to active, look right here it's all blue, kind of blends in with that, the zero weight versus the barely any weight. And you can kind of see that contrast a bit more with active. And you can also see show weight contours here, which I never really do, but maybe for some people to perceive it might be more helpful. Show wire, let's see if, no. I don't know what the show wire is unless we're in maybe the wireframe mode. Let's see. I don't know the difference quite yet, but oh well, let's just go back to texture. So moving right here, looks pretty good there, and maybe could clip there. Again, clipping is not always the worst thing in the world, but we'll see what we can smooth out if possible. So it might be better. Well, some of it does look harsh. But it's really your discretion if you want to correct it like that or not. See, this vertex right here needs to have some weight, because right now when I'm pushing it, it's not moving it as much. We'll just do that real quick. Actually, I think it's fine. So that's fine like this orientation. Let me rotate it a different one. Okay. Let's double check. So if you push it too far in, it's going to look weird there. And right there, it needs to smooth out a little bit. No, the hand's not going to move this far, so let's kind of make it a little bit more realistic. Go to this orientation, numpad 7, rotate. This is probably the most. Let's see. Let's bring it inverse. Inverse doesn't really take this little bone knuckle thing away. It might be fine, just how it's modeled. Because of how it's modeled, it might just be an extrusion of a bone kind of thing. Not an extrusion, but like a wrist bone. Yeah, so it seems to be that way. If you want it to merge with the hand a little more, you probably could. Like maybe like that, barely. But then if you go this way, then that hard bone is gonna decompress into the skin. So it's probably might be better if we do it like this, a little bit more. See, so you got to see multiple rotations to see what makes sense for the bones within a person. Okay. Gotta lower that strength a little bit. I'm gonna see what radial does. Could help a little bit. So see, radial's a bit helpful right here. I think that's fine. Well, let me see. Yeah, this is a bit very specific, but just being detailed, I guess. Okay, I think that might work for the hand right there. Now, you might be obviously interested in the fingers after this, so let me get to that just now. So this bone, I'm just trying to see if this should be improved. I think that's fine, maybe, let's see. Yeah, I don't think that was the end of the world, so yeah, that one was a good modification right there. So you just do that. Okay, so now we did the hand, let's get to, so Smash Ultimate has these bones right here that kind of manipulate, like, maybe it's like rigged where it's like this part of the hand. And I could reference the fresh import again for the hand. Let me see if I should do that. Let me re-import, one sec. New collection. Go to the Ultimate plugin, and I'm going to import the model. Okay, I just got another one. I'm going to right click, select hierarchy. I'm going to press G to move, and then I'm going to hold middle mouse to move it on the axis that I want it to. So, has that same, and we can also verify the weights, how they look from the original model if we wanted to. But you're not always going to have that liberty to compare with something. So that's why I'm talking about due diligence and making your best judgment. Okay, so see right here, I'm going to select finger L10. And if you're familiar with the naming conventions, I'm going to shift expand all of this. You can see the 10, the 20, 30, everything with a 0 are these right here. Let's see what kind of, let's see what it affects. So this one affects the entire hand as if it was not even rigged, unless it was just a hand for some reason. This one does this. We can see what the weights look like. Well, let's do that actually. Okay, let's go to finger L20. You can see it does that, but you know, like I said, you're gonna want to start from the hand and then move on to maybe these, and then it just goes on iterative like that. Let's go here. Let's go to 30. See what that looks like. So same story. Let's just see what that first one right here. It looked like it manipulated the whole hand. Let's see what that looks like. See, it's just that. I just noticed actually, I could have been in this mode, just selected the bones like this. Again, I guess it's been a few months, but you could just select the bones like this instead of going object mode and then back into the pose select and, you know, back into weight paint. So if you ever want to just do this and then change the vertex group, it'll be much more seamless. So you can paint weight these kind of bones. It's just most models in life don't really have these kind of bones. I guess these are just Smash's finger helping bones maybe. But I never really do this, and my hands look fine. So that's why I'm gonna skip the unless anyone has an objection. I only ever work with the 1, 2, and 3s. So see right here, 11, 12, and 13, 51, 52, 53. Not the ones with the zeros, because I find them not necessary. Does anyone have an opinion about that?
No, I just never use those. I only use the 1, 2s, and 3s.
Yep. So, I mean, Smash does it for their own reason, I assume helping, right? So, I'm just going to move on to this one. But now we can at least see what the rigging would look like. paint weight wise. I don't even know when the hand would ever deform like this, right? Really, because it would just be like that. But yeah. So this is the original model. Let's go back to our model. Or actually, let me just show. This is an example of what the weights look like. Again, it's not really great to visualize these unless we do it ourselves. So it just looks like that, and then that, and then that. But let's go back to our model. Okay. Boom, boom. Okay. So I need to go back here and then just select this. Okay. So I'm on the 11s right now, or 10s, which is the index. So if you guys don't know, typically in Smash, it's the 10s here, the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, and the 50s is the thumb. And if you don't know what I mean, it's the, you know, like this digit right here is what I'm talking about, the 10s. And it goes all the way to 50, yeah. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. So I'm going to go back because I'm not searching anymore. I need to create the vertex group finger L11. Match that one. Okay. And now I'm going to use the gradient tool, but everything's selected, right? So I'm going to have to select only what I need. So right here, or what I think I would need. Okay. And right there. Make sure it looks good enough. Yeah, so this is more precise than maybe other, precise in its own way, versus other parts that we've explored so far. And then if the selection, you know, is not completely what we want, we'll just add it as we need to. Okay. So I need to now go back at the bone. There. Okay. Rotating, adding the gradient line. Need to add max, so it has the full weight that it needs to get to where it needs to be. Okay. And actually, we might not even tend to all of the fingers in this demonstration because, you know, it's kind of, you see one, you do it for the rest, unless anyone wants to see more. It's up to you. Let me see. I just don't know how necessary it is unless you practice yourself doing, you know, all this iterative. So let's see right here. So see how it kind of is, you know, it's kind of natural to bring in down the skin right here between the fingers. Let's see. Maybe a bit more here, make it a bit more full. So yeah, just think of your, you know, natural skeleton bone fullness and how it would move your fingers in life as well. Put that weight there a little bit, and that seems to be good. And if you ever wanted to, you could always just select the faces that you wanted, and then go into 7, which is weight paint for me. Go there, and then you just click remove or assign, and it would just do the faces that you want to the number that you want right here. Okay, we go back to the 7, go back to face paint mask. Alright, so any questions you guys have regarding that first part of the finger, or do you want to just see the whole finger before any questions?
You can do both.
You said whole finger, right?
Yeah, I said whole finger, but I don't know if anybody else has anybody.
No, that's cool with me.
Okay, so I'm going to go down, and you see right here, it kind of has a weird spot. And fingers do go down that hard, even if it's the first knuckle. It is possible, so you kind of probably want to exclusivize those, or isolate those vertices if you can. Let's see, where would that be? And keep in mind, I'm only showing the methods and that I can think of, 1, and 2, the experiences that I've come across. And I might not even, oh, and by the way, Alt-Z is to interchange X-ray mode if you wanted to know that. So if you didn't want to see so many vertices and lines at once, when you get up close, you just toggle that so you can just work with one side at a time. Anyway, it was just disclaiming that there probably could be more techniques for isolating something or doing something. So yeah. Alright, let's see. I'm going to go back into X-ray mode. Just see what's being manipulated again. Okay, so it's like that. So I reckon I'm going to select some of these vertices here so I can just track where it is. And I'm going to go out of X-ray mode because it's just this one side I'm working with. And right here, so it could just be these faces. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, so let's see what happens when I add some weight there. Okay, so you know that clips kind of naturally into the skin as best as you know how low poly this is, and so I think that's fine. And now let me, oh, I think what I was going to say was there's a way, whether it's a plugin or maybe a feature, where you can save selections. I think it's a plugin that I recall. So see how I made this selection just for this one small spot? I think there's a plugin where you can save it, so if you ever needed to refer to this selection, but also you wanted to refer to that finger only selection, you could do that, but we can explore that later if we want to find that. But I think that would be helpful in this situation where I don't want to have to undo because I don't want to undo my work. I also don't want to have to retrace back my selection. But I'll have to do that anyway. Luckily I know where it is, especially for higher poly rigs. You know, you're probably going to want those saved selections. Okay, so everything's selected. I'm going to reset that rotation and going to go up a little bit and see what I can do. So the knuckle would move up here in this zone like that. You know, I just clicked kind of randomly, but it might have done something, even in radial. It might have just been perfect. So, let's see. Yeah, that's fine, right there. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next one. Well, actually, not the next one. I'm going to see more rotation. Right here. Okay. I'm seeing that something's going weird right there. I'm going to go back to the line and smooth that out a little bit. That looks good. I'm going to inspect. I don't see anything too weird. Maybe this could be a little pokey out, so let's see what happens. Correct that a little bit. That's fine. Okay. So I'm going to put it here. Maybe I'm going to reduce this a little bit. And to not interfere with this right here, I probably want to deselect this because we know that's going to want to be full weight for this. Okay, just so that blends a little bit better, just in case. You don't want it to shove right into the skin in every kind of instance. Alright, and let's just double check before we move on to the next bone. Okay, looks good to me. Okay, so I finished that. Well, I did say we want to move on to the, or talk about questions when we finish the finger, right? So let me just move on to the next. Oh, I just noticed something. Is it just me? Yeah. So I'm pressing 4, which is toggling the object mode and the edit mode. So I'm noticing the whole model is shifting when I go into edit mode. So let's see why that is. Maybe somehow the whole model got shifted? Let me see. Maybe it's the hip? Who knows? Let's click A to select all the bones, and let's click clear all transformations. So something was moved and never reset. Not sure what it was other than hip, because it looks like it affected the whole model. Yeah. So if you ever see how your mesh or model looks different when you're toggling from either pose or object or edit mode, you probably want to see if a bone is moved, because it's going to be different from the rest pose. So yeah, I just clicked all of the bones, clear transform all, and then it made sure. So I'm gonna check and verify again. If I click that and press Alt, it's still static, so we're good. Just want to keep that in mind because sometimes it could add in confusion. Alright, moving on to the next bone, which is finger L12. Alright, and when I click object mode, shift click the mesh, there we go. Finger L12. And we're just going to do the same thing we did before, but it's going to be probably a little bit easier because it's not working with this knuckle joint so much. And I'm going to isolate what I'm going to need, which is approximately that. Gradient, full weight, and then we're going to move it down. And let's see. Okay, I might want to get a little closer to make sure it's a. So if you know, depending on your camera range too, you'll be able to be more precise with how long you want the linear pull to be, which means you can be smoother naturally just by zooming in. And then depending on where you go, let's see. That might be stiff enough. Looks good, I think. Good enough. You know, there's that little gap, but it's not the end of the world. And you could always refine that if you really wanted to by isolating those faces again. Now, this finger's never really going to go like this. The most it's ever going to go is probably like this. So let's see. You know, at this joint level. So let's make it like that. It's never going to go this direction or angle and up, but it looks fine now. Okay, let's try a different rotation. It's also going to be very restrictive here, you know, how this joint and onward would move in real life. So just let's see what we can do. I like that. Maybe it's a bit sharp. Let's see. Yeah, it was a bit too sharp because if you go right here, let's see. Move it a little bit. Okay, that's fine. I think that's fine overall. So let's just do some. Yep, looks good to me. Okay, moving on to the last joint of the finger. So going into that, finger L13. Going to gradient, rotating. And let's see, so this is the fingertip. And this is again still on the index finger. Okay, move it a little bit more. See, it looks a little sharp right here, so let me just keep it right there for now. So you might want to just isolate it to a smaller amount. Let's see this. Wait, let me select it by faces. Select that. Okay. And that looks good. You know, sometimes you might not want this kind of face to go up in this instance, but I think how this joint may work for fingers, it might react a little bit upward anyway, right before this finger goes down. But we can double check. Let's see. So I'm going to click Shift L to turn it off. I'm going to press C to go back to just these faces. And now I'm going to press Escape. Numpad 1 to go to the front, and let's see what we can do. See, adding weight to this bone is going to make it go that way, so let's subtract some weight. But the thing is, if you affect these vertices right here, it seems to bring this in a direction we may not want. So I think that's why this is the optimal, the middle ground that we're going to have to tolerate. Yeah, so that's why we're going to leave it like this. Okay. I definitely want to look into saved face selections or vertices selection, because referring back and forth to a specific spot and then selecting again definitely sounds helpful. So it might be a Blender default feature, or it might be that plugin that I was referring to. But I'll definitely consider that for any future rigging after this. Okay. Moving this a little bit, that a little bit. I doubt that fingertip, moves really anywhere other than down and up, or not barely even up. So I think we might be done with this finger. So let me show you something. If I select this bone, and this bone, you can go right here at the top, transformation pivot point. You can go to individual origins, and now you can select them all, but they'll all affect each other at the same time. So it'll go like this, right? And it kind of shows that it worked a little bit. Looks good to me overall. And let's go back here. Now, you're not going to want to rotate all of these like that, because the fingers do not move like this. So you're just going to want to select it just right here. And so it would look like that movement. And it kind of pulls that middle thing in a nice way, I would say. So, any questions about the hand to finger?
Nope, seems pretty straightforward to me.
Yeah. And it seemed to have worked out. I didn't need much correction about things. Depending on the vertice level, right? But that's what I'm saying of the emphasis on the gradient line. It just makes the process of smoothness so much easier. So you don't ever have to worry about such interference of small vertice manipulation until the very last, I would say.
Yeah, this gradient tool seems very useful.
Mm-hmm. I haven't really been exposed to people that have talked about it, but ever since I learned it on a tutorial, I felt like it was just a necessity at that point.
Yeah.
So, we did the upper body all the way to the hand, but we can do the head and neck, which is fairly simple. Very simple, actually. And then maybe you guys want that ponytail. It'll be kind of like that finger kind of thing, I would say. Let's see. Okay, so we're gonna make the neck. Let me actually hide this model just in case I don't actually ever select it. There we go. So if you're not familiar with Blender, I just hit it. You can also turn it off. But the thing is, if you ever do this and then turn it off and then back on, it's gonna turn everything back on again and not be exactly how you wanted it. But if you go this and then just hide the collection, it does keep the same status of the things that were hidden. So I'm just going to do that, but just so you can know. So back into the weight paint, we don't want anything selected. So let's select what we need right here. Oh, yeah, I'm not used to doing the C selecting, because it's annoying because you can't pan and rotate, right? So what I actually did in the past, I'm just recalling now, is this. So if you click down, you can see the different selections, right? You can also press W, and W just goes down each of these. So watch, I'll press, it's in select box right now mode, but if I press W, it'll switch to this paint select, which is the next one in the order, which is from select box to select circle, and then I'll go to select lasso. So press W again, lasso. Let me go into non-X-ray so you can kind of see better. And so yeah, I didn't do C before, so you kind of can discard that. I think that's inferior to select circle. So what I'm going to do now, I'll go back to X-ray so I can make sure I can get everything. Well, I'll go back to box select for now. Okay, and now I'm going to go to the circle, which is the W again, and I'm going to take off the X-ray because I just want to be specific about what I think I'll. Oh, and I'm going to shift click to add the faces obviously. What I think I'm going to be using. Alright, looks good for now. That's the collarbone, so you would think of a hard weight with that, so not really neck related as well. Okay, so we're going to work with this. Let me add the neck vertex group, oh, it seems like I already had, which is right here. You saw how it added, when you add a duplicate bone and a duplicate a lot of anything, it's going to add a 0.001 to it. But you're not going to want that because it's going to be kind of conflicting, right? Okay, so going into this orientation, I'm going to rotate the neck this way and see what I can do. Okay. Looks good on that angle a bit, so let me keep going. Could get more complicated here, but let me reduce the strength a bit. And we probably don't want to give a woman an Adam's apple, right? Unless she has one, I guess. And so let me isolate some of this. Let me use the lasso, I guess. I'm gonna control click and to deselect, and I will just select this. Well, I guess I wasn't in X-ray. Yeah, that's right. So let me do that again. Okay. Go back here. All right. Looks like I might need to isolate those vertices a lot more, so let me go even more precise. Just get this. Or turn off wireframe, do circle. Let's try that for now. Okay. Their topology is interesting, but I guess the triangulation, yeah. So, yeah, there we go. Got some more gradual edges right there. And see how it's affecting these faces that I don't really want to down there, so I'm going to turn some of that off. There we go. Okay. Go back to gradient, and yeah, that's fine. I think that's good right there. Okay. That's far enough forward, and her back of her neck kind of looks okay there. So, but now her back of her neck when she goes back, this is probably the most. It's not that great. So let's reset it because I can't grab any vertices unless I go here. Her ponytail's in the way. Obviously, you can hide faces. I'll just show as an example. Object mode. You know, do that and then press H until the ponytail is gone. You could do that. Or you could do this. Let me show something. So you select these faces right here, and you can alternatively click slash. Well, let me see. Mesh, show hide, and then hide unselected. So whatever that command was is Shift H, and then you could just work with that or whatever you wanted, or you would just hide, you know, what you needed to. Let me just go back to the paint weight mode, and I'll just grab. I'm in wireframe or X-ray right now. I'm just gonna grab this, so it's symmetrical, and maybe right here. Okay, and maybe turning off X-ray. Gonna grab that. All right, let's work with that. So that's fine for now. Let's go right here and take some of that weight off. Okay. Let's just see how things look, right? I know that sometimes to consider neck folding and whatnot. This is a low poly model, so not really neck folding, but just how it melds with the neck. Try to see nothing too weird looking, you know. So this looks like not too weird looking, just the neck moving back. It's not so high fidelity to notice any folds, but maybe some more weight could be here to blend better. So let's see what I can do. kind of want to hide this shirt mesh, but it's all one mesh right now. So let's see. Okay, so if I do this, we add a lot less strength. See, but that sinks it all in, so because I did all that. So I think I need to select or isolate more faces. Let's see, take that off, and let's see. Okay, let's see, yeah, so that adds a little more, you know, just connectivity in a way, for lack of better phrasing right now. And to each their own, you know, maybe this is not perfectly accurate, but I just felt like that gap was a bit off or weird. Let me maybe add some faces here and see what I can do. Just a bit more. There. Okay, I think that's more natural. Yeah. Alright, so we have folding back to that threshold angle, and the front looks fine now. So the last is just a side to side. So let's select the head back one last time. Oh, let me go in X-ray mode. Alt Z, select. Okay. Well, might need more for her deltoids or whatnot. So let's select this. Okay. Let's add some weight. Well, I'm gonna isolate it on one side because I don't want it to affect, you know, with the linear and everything. So right here, more weight. Okay. That's not too bad, I guess. Let's see there. I mean, that's what you'd expect somewhat if it was that much of a neck turn, but let's see if we can lessen it anyway. So let's go there. Maybe that's more natural or more balanced. Well, see how it's affecting some of the stuff up here, so let's take the upper head off. Okay. Yeah, just balancing the movement of it, so. And then that, let's see if that ruined anything. Kind of, so. Yeah, maybe the neck does expand as it goes further because the muscle contraction and whatnot. Now it's this part that I'm curious about. Maybe too harsh right there. So, less strength. Remember, you can change the fall off. So, let's see. But some of the neck I don't want, so let me take this off. Maybe this off. Definitely the ponytail. Who knows if I even affected that on accident. But we'll find out now. Oh, oh yeah, we did. So let me... I'll get to that at the end. Or right after this, okay. So obviously that was a mistake where the ponytail was still selected, but that's why you gotta make sure, you know, constantly. Let's see. So is that folding in properly? It was just this part right here I was trying to change. So reduce that a little bit. There we go. So notice, yeah, I'm on the neck and I'm taking some off. Okay. And how does that look? That might be fine as it is right there, yeah. Okay. So I think we did, well actually, I'm curious if this part should be this much. So maybe I should do, for this one small vertex, a either smear or, not a smear. You can do, you know, draw, which means less strength manually. They're smeared, but I can smear this smaller weight up a little bit and see how that works. So just gonna go here. Did it do it? Let's see. Way too much. Let's go right here. Notice I just clicked undo and it set my strength back to 100. So what I'm gonna do is click right here so it doesn't do that. Okay. do too much again? Yep. Oh my gosh. Does this even help? Okay, see right there how I'm moving along, like the parallel of it? And kind of smooth it out perfectly. Okay. Alright. So let's try the other side of the neck now. And then after that we'll be almost done with the body, just that head. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna lasso this. Kind of similar fashion. And see what I can work with. Just seems to be these few things that I don't like. So let me click none. Let me click W, select. There we go. Okay. And let's see. Gradient, linear. Smooth it out a little bit. Looks good to me, I think. Let's keep going. But not right here, so let's go back to that. Gradient, move it a bit more. Maybe just this last one. Gradient. So see how the linear is so sensitive now? So I honestly have to draw or smear this one spot. I'm just gonna draw. Let's see. So right now it's focusing on 0 weight, but I'm doing barely 0 weight, so that means it should barely modify this. Yeah, there you go. It was really just that one vertex, it seemed like. Yeah, that's fine. And remember, this clipping, not the end of the world. Okay. So, gonna test the last rotation, see how it goes. Looks good to me, and I think she has this like this part right here that's kind of weird, so let's go to that. Okay. Sometimes it's good to test extreme poses because it might matter. Let's see. Gradient, linear, affect this a little bit. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Alright, let's see. Just that one vertex, let's say. Okay, much better. Let's see, maybe this a little bit. Okay, looks good to me. And gonna try the other way, just in case. Okay, see how the neck there is a little bit harsh, I would say. So I'm just gonna select this. Let's see what I can do with that. What I'm gonna do is just do the gradient thing and hope it just affects this midpoint section while I rotate slowly across, smoothing it out. Yep. One last thing, I think. There you go. Alright. I think we did the neck now, so last part of the upper body is the head. Any questions you guys got?
Nothing right now.
Okay. So, and I'm trying to, not take too long on things, not rush things. So hopefully the space is okay with you guys. Oh, I did remember that I did have some weight issue with the neck right here that I had accidentally weighted incorrectly. So let me select that and verify. Yeah, it was just that part, so let me max it out. There you go. You can obviously draw 1.0 if you wanted to, but I just made sure it's all. Or you could press V, assign that selection. Yeah. Alright, so that's good. Well, actually, the head was not the last part of the upper body because I was going to do the ponytail too, because Zarek did ask for that, and maybe you guys care too. So let's see here. Let me to click the head. Where's the head at? Well, let's see, I might have it selected. No, I don't. Oh, it's up here. So neck, head, okay. Got the head selected, and let me select the head. Turn off wire X-ray. Get back to circle select, and I'll take the border. So you want to get like the bordering of the neck and the bordering of the head. The ponytail is going to be part of the head first. Make sure everything's selected as I want. Yep. Okay. So make sure I'm in X-ray mode. Go right here. Well, you know what? I'm gonna select this too, just in case. Actually, no, that's the neck, honestly. So let me do that. So notice if I toggle X-ray mode, you'll see that the center dots of these faces appear, and when the X-ray is off, the dots disappear. So that's an indicator, oftentimes, if you can't see other clashing edges or faces. Okay, so that looks good to me. Oops. And weight mode. So I'm not on a bone right now. Let's get back onto that. There we go. Rotate a little bit. Okay, let's see. So the head is going to be a lot more restrictive and precise than the neck, but not as maybe tedious in its own way. Okay. So I'm going to want to grab, I think, these faces right here. Deal with that right now. Take away. I wonder, I might be able to just grab these vertices, or these, and see if I can just remove. See how it removed like that? But I might be able to assign a custom weight, so let's just see what 0.1 looks like to the head, and if that was even necessary or natural. Let's try 0.5 or 0.4 and see what that does. See, we don't want it to ever look like that, just because it's rotating. So I'm trying to figure out if I want to remove it entirely or have some give. Let's try the 0.1 one more time. Let's try 0.2. I think maybe right in the middle, 1.15. What do you guys have an opinion? What do you think was better? If this part of the neck is entirely not like manipulatable from the head, or if you think if it should just have some give?
Let's see.
So it look like that, basically, or that?
I'm trying to think about it because I feel like I'm doing it like with my head right now, and I know these are stylized characters. So there's some, room for things like that, but
because the thing is, if I have it like this and I rotate, I feel like there would be some give, like in a way.
yeah, I feel like the blending looks better in
Yeah.
this case. I would blend this.
Yeah. So I'm gonna actually make it 0.1, just so it has some movement.
Okay, good idea.
Thanks. And so I'm just gonna do these vertices, 0.15, but let's see. So that was just to test what those vertices would look like. So let me just select some faces again, because it's much harder to see what's going on without selecting faces. Okay. And there you go. So let's see. Take that off. Oh, see how I just undo to a section I didn't want it to? So let me click draw, just so it doesn't do that. And then increase some weight. Maybe right there looks good. Well, I think I might be able to add some right here. That's what I think. Yeah, look at that. A little bit more, I don't know, gradual.
Yeah, I'm feeling that sort of gradualness to it.
Because if it was like that, you know, it's more inclined to an Adam's apple, which would be
Yeah.
hard in that instance. But for a woman, I feel, you know, I'm trying to omit that, I would say. So, okay. Well, that seems fine right there. So, that part of the head, you know, maybe it will never rotate that way, but definitely want some more gradual something there. So let's, we're in X-ray, okay, and then let's get some of that. So maybe this hair, let me see what that hair is looking like. I guess we just select it all here and see what happens. Okay. Let's see. That, no. I think would be the opposite. So let's see. So I guess the neck might need more up there. Let's try that. Yeah. Yeah, that's that shadowing right there is that little hair. Let me make sure I have this selected. So yeah, if vertices were not merged, which it might have to not be merged in some cases, it would be a lot more difficult because there would be seams and whatnot. So you'd have to account for using the magnetic tool in edit mode in some instances. And let's see, maybe I'll come up with another thought, but let me just continue what I was doing. So this looks like a little more natural what the head was merging into. Let me see there. Might just need to get these faces right here. Okay. Is that right? Yeah. Trying to see where this that face, there we go. And then the little one, I think that face, yep. You also want to make sure you never select any stray random face somewhere else when you're in X-ray. But I just have to get an X-ray to get behind that mesh. For now. That mesh might have been a separate mesh, and you can always separate these meshes if you ever wanted to. So I'm going to work with this. Looks like it's connecting something with the hair. Oh, I see it. I don't think it did to the other side. Yeah, just that one side. Okay. And hopefully I'm not if I'm ever like talking quieter, hopefully I'm not whispering too low that you guys can't hear. Okay. Let's see this. So I see the hair, you know, it's really a part of it, so I'm gonna actually X-ray and then grab some of these. Grab this. And then grab that. Let me see if I have to do that. Yeah, it seems like it's good that way. Okay. That looks more natural now. So, you know, it's just the head, so it would not be moving much. Let's see. But it does clash with the neck a little bit there, so I'm gonna take care of that. Oh, see? Selected the ponytail. Okay, took that away. Alright, let's see what we can do. Gradient, take some weight away. Oh, we don't want it away from the neck, I guess. We want it away from the head. Or do we? What do we want? Looks like we might want more neck weight here. So actually, let me select this. And that. For a sec. Okay. More weight. So let's see. But then it's too much up there. let's take that off. And now that looks fine, I think. So let's see. And then subtract that. We don't want the clip in there so much. Okay. And let's see, maybe there's another way to mirror, if not bone renaming, because I think also Messi did a mirroring tutorial and resources channel, so we could refer to that later, bone related wise. But you know, I was just thinking topology mirroring, you know, maybe there is something that we could do for this side to the other side in another instance. But this is not too long, so let me rotate to the other side now. I think, oh, you rotate that. Let me take this away because we're done with that side. And add some to, oh, we need to add weight to this side. Okay. It seems to be good to 1.0, but we're going to have to take some off the top. So let's go there. It's looking more natural, or it's just isolating the head, not bothering the neck so much. Well, I do think I do see like a little pouch right here. Yeah, it's like caving in a bit. So I'm gonna add some weight here. Just verify if there's not that pouch on the other side. Yeah, there's a little bit, so let me just get those. Okay, let's see. Okay, no problem pick. Let's see. So I'm just taking this, minimizing the top. See what part of the head is. Okay, this might be an extreme angle, so let me take it back a bit. Let's see what I got selected. I think I need to deselect those, yeah, because that was the head actually. So let me see. And so I'm just gonna add some right here, I think. Just some manual weight, a little strength. I think that might be sufficient for isolating the head. This looks like the jaw right here, so that might be fine to be hard, but let me double check. Taking it out of X-ray mode, just selecting these vertices, and then, oh, it's not that one, so it's actually up here more. Okay. Let's see if I need a gradient that to the head at all. Oh, see how it just undid something I didn't want to do. Let me click there, go back to gradient, and let's see. Let me reduce the weight. Look at that one vertex, it's just keeping there. What vertex could that be? Let's see. So if I go back into box select, you can also see the weight of different things. See how there's a bunch of zeros? You're not going to want that. And Smash only handles 4 weights, vertex groups at the same time. But we're going to take care of that at the very end. So right here, I'm seeing that this one's 1.0, that one's 1.0, and here's where to coincide. So let's see. And then so again, I go into edit mode and I click one vertex and I'm in the item section right here. And it's just the neck and the head. I was just trying to see if I can take this one away. I think that's just what's getting on my nerves right here. Here we go. Okay. I'm gonna go to gradient and just add some weight to that. There we go, perfect. Much better. But then here's this point. It's being really annoying, so let me take the weight from that, add it there. And then we pull that one point back right there. It's just that one, so let me, almost there. There we go. I think that's it. Okay. Are we getting somewhere? Let's see. And if you don't want to be specific with the draw, you can also do radial on the gradient like this. So let's see. Yeah, there we go. So a bit more easier to control in some instances like this instead of drawing. And notice that this, this head is still poking into this a little bit. So instead of going to edit where you can't see because it resets its pose, yeah, you would just switch to this right here, which is W. So let's click that. Let's see what we can do with that. Let's take away with radial. There we go. So yeah, this is probably the most used thing of radial. It's probably fixing some stray vertices and whatnot, I would say, to answer that more in depth from earlier. Okay, I think that's enough for the head. Do you guys have any questions before I move on to the ponytail? Because the ponytail, it's not really necessary if I have to do it, unless you guys want to do it, because it's more or less the same iteration that we've been doing, and the finger, it's pretty much the same. Because it looks like a tubular thing. You would just move it at every orientation, gradient it, and it would work that way. So I don't want to waste anyone's time. But I know someone did talk about hair earlier, but Zarek didn't really participate to get in depth to see how similar it was, so can't really make that judgment now. But
that's true. Well, if we don't do the hair, what would we be jumping into next?
Well, the last thing is we just did the hips to the upper body, and remember, hips is the core starting point, in my opinion. So we would just do the leg, then the knee, and then the foot. And then Smash has the toe, which is just like a little gradient of the, it's not every toe, it's just toe bone, right?
Yeah, just that front part. Okay, I think we could do the leg. If the ponytail's kind of like self-explanatory, then I say go for it.
Yeah, it just moves like that finger how it did, so. Except probably every which way. Yeah, so. Okay, let's, well, what do you guys think of the upper body and everything so far? I know you said straightforward, so maybe you already came to the same conclusion as you've been seeing, so you're just trying to see more, right?
Yeah, so far it seems easier than I thought, which is good. Yeah, a lot of use of that gradient tool.
Yep.
Yeah, that seems like it goes a long way.
What kind of
just kind of testing it, at the different angles.
Yeah, I think definitely if you just practice as well, because I work best hands-on, and maybe you guys do too, but I know this is going to be a video for you and observation, but definitely just working with different kinds of models and different kinds of rigging and considering different things like, oh, it should be hard this way, or this should be this gradual, right? It's your discretion practice, right? So.
Yeah.
Okay, let's, well, since I did this side of the arm, let me do the same side of the leg. So yeah, just like the clavicle C bone, we're also going to omit the leg C, which I might have mentioned earlier. So, I'm gonna make that LegL. So we're kind of almost done. I reckon probably 10 minutes overall should be the rest of this whole session. Okay, so I'm gonna move this out. Make sure I select what I want to select. Let's see. Make sure I'm in X-ray mode. I was gonna do another character as the skeleton. It might be brief and quick if I can do that, but we could leave that for another time. And by skeleton, I just mean, you know, all these bones, how they're already smash oriented and everything, right? I could just show you how to parent bones and where to place bones or something like that.
Oh, like making a new skeleton, like for
Yeah.
a model that doesn't have one. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
useful too.
Either a new skeleton or proprietary, just parenting and hierarchy of bones, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think just because I haven't eaten much today, so I don't want it to really hit me and catch up to me.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, me neither actually. So
Oh, really?
that works out.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna do the leg, and then I'm going to do the last thing that you need to do to have. You might have seen when right here it shows like 000 weight, and you have all those extra vertex groups with barely any weight. Basically, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna paint weight the leg, and then I'm gonna show you how to take care of those basically nearly null weights. And that's it for today. And then we can have
Sounds good.
continue another time, right? So, alright, so let's rotate this leg right here. And we only have that leg selected, so gradient, increase that weight, increase the strength. Let's see what happens. Let's go back to linear. Okay, and that was a nice little cushion, how it kind of melded perfectly to her front. Let's see how it looks different. And that's some good clipping, like actual positive clipping, I would say. I think I might have gotten pretty lucky with that front thigh, with the gradient. So this part we do need to smooth out though. There's no way she has a thigh that sharp. So let's move, actually let's take away some weight on the back. But let me take some weight away from parts I'm not going to be working with. So right here. Okay. Take some weight away. Because it's only to itself, I guess, it's being annoying. Yeah, it's not part of hip, it's only to the leg now, so. Yeah, the hip right there. So what I can do is I click the hip, because the hip is the core reference of everything else, or inverse. So I'm going to add some weight to the hip right here. But because I don't want it to like blend like this, it's just going to meld the best it can, like that. Boom. Yeah, that worked out. The butt, the butt is mostly hip, I would say, but let me see if I can do something with it. No, see, it just moves it in a weird way, I guess based on the root of that leg bone. So I think that's the best for if we're isolating the leg, front and back. So let's go to the front. Yeah, again, just a reference, I wish I had the plugin or know-how, which you need to refer to in the future, of saved selections, so I don't have to keep going back to reselecting everything. Okay, that's not good, so I'm gonna just select this, and I'm going to take away weight. Wait a minute. I just noticed there's a gap there, but I had originally, oh, it's because I don't have all the faces selected. So let me turn off X-ray. Let me select my faces here. Yeah, there we go. That's what that gap should mean, I imagine. Kind of strange. Yeah, seems like I just took it all away, so that's good. It's as if there's a seam there, but it should have merged enough vertices, but let me select all again, and then this time, let's go back to merge by distance, and maybe that was too small, and maybe that gap is just ridiculous, so let me see if I can make it 3, and that might have been those 3 vertices right there. We go to box select, vertice, pull apart. See, they are. I guess the Smash devs didn't align these vertices well. You know, if you were working on your own model and not a Smash model, or you just wanted to correct a Smash model, you would go to magnet mode right here. You go to this drop down, go to vertex, and then I'm going to click G to drag, move, and then just select it to there. And then I'm going to see where the next one is. So it shows where the next line is, which goes up to here. That one's connected. Obviously that one's going to get merged soon. Now we only just really need to, I just changed it back to X-ray. So now I have, oh, let me show you back here too. If I go to, so I just went to this menu right here, and viewport overlays, and clicking statistics, so I can see how many vertices I've selected. So it's 2 vertices. I'm just going to merge by distance, or you can obviously merge at center. Anyway, so that's solved. That weird triangle gap that the devs did, or whatever, for the scene. So now I need to select the leg again. Not those vertices. Okay, and let me select a bit more up here. And let's add some weight right here. Oh, I need to select a lot more actually. Right there, maybe here. Let's try that. Okay, pulling it up here. Maybe add a little more gradient. Okay. And then I'm looking at this stretch down here. Trying to see, now you see how there's a stretch here in the groin area. It's not always going to be good, because if a vertice stretches too far, it's going to make the texture stretch, even if it might look good in some instance. So that's not going to be good right there. Let me add some negative right there to smooth it out. Now let's see what happens when we do average right here, because there's a weird chunk I'm looking at. Not really doing anything. Add some strength. Okay, doing something now. Or let me try smear. Yeah, smear is a little bit more. Take care of it. Okay, I think that did pretty much the job right there. So let me go back to gradient, and okay, let's back to the bone manipulation. Shift click. There we go. Okay. Let's see what part this should start not being affected. Let me take some off of this. See, this is the healthy clipping, I would say, or more of that territory. And you could probably isolate this and whatnot, but I'm not going to spend time for this demonstration isolating everything that I have to, but you could probably know what you might want to work with on your own accord. Okay, so let's see. I'm trying to wonder, this interesting gap right here. I'm trying to wonder if that's just part of the butt, which it might be, the curve of the butt. So I'm trying to see if I should, yeah, take some weight away maybe. Let's see. Yeah, it's not too bad like that, so I think we're going to keep it that way. Okay. I think we did the leg now. Just going to move on to the knee. We could always try it like this, of course, but I think it's been pretty good, roughly. So, moving on to the knee now. Let's click here so I don't have to click out and in again. Boom, boom, there we go. And I am dragging this here. And notice this is, okay, yeah, this is an alphabetical still. And you can always change it. This is by reverse, or you could do, I think it sorts by name or the hierarchy. Oh, or maybe not. Let's just click here then. So let's make the knee bone, knee L. Okay, this one should be much simpler because it's not working with the butt and whatnot, and the hips. So let's click. Oh, we're already in it. So go back. Okay, gradient, rotate this way because the knee's never gonna go this the frontal Z positive, I would say. Let's add weight to that. Weight to that. Wait a minute. Oh, see, look, I undoed and it took out the name again. So let me type knee L and then click draw. You know, if I got into the big habit of this, I would be remembering when to do all that. Click the draw and whatnot. So gradient here. Sometimes you gotta watch and feed out for clothes too, because they might not follow the same deformations as, you know, skin or whatever. Okay, let's rotate that. So now we need a bit more positive and gradual clipping in here, like that. Looks good. And then, is this good? Oh, see, we're bringing in the knee more, as much as it is the topology allows us to. Okay, yeah, that's not too bad. So now let's see the. Luckily, we don't have to do the frontal, so let's do the sideways now, and then we're almost done with the knee. Oh, the knee doesn't even really have much, so honestly, this is the best it will be right here. So that was a quick one. Alright, now we're gonna switch to the foot. We're almost there. But L, gonna click draw so it doesn't undo the name. And let's see. Rotate up a little bit. There you go. Nice. And the back looks, let's see. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, I mean that's the foot, not the leg. But sometimes there was that weird deformation of topology right there, so just to see how much it moves it. And you could always smear maybe, way too much strength, just to smooth out this a little bit. Yeah, there we go. And then maybe this. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. See that? That would tighten up like this a little bit. But then, see in the front, now it has weight that you're not going to want, especially for a foot. This is no longer the foot. So let's take that away. Sometimes it is better to leave it to be hard in certain areas. Let's see. It might be not sharp enough here, so let's go and take away the foot and see what we can take away in weight, because we don't want the shin to move so much. I mean, the foot is never gonna move like this, but we're just trying to see how much the weight is pulling this shin. And I think that's good right there. It took me away from my own thing. Let's see. Yep, that's fine there. Okay, let's do side to side a little bit. Good enough there. Alright, we're on that, really the last bone I would say, which is the toe bone. Okay, so I'm going to make that ToeL, and then draw, just to, well not, I didn't want to hit that in accident, let me make sure I'm not accidentally selecting this, click that, there, okay, and now we're just going to select the foot. Notice it selected that one, so make sure not to do that. Okay, there we go. So let's go up a little bit, and let's go in with the weight. Let's see where her toes are at. Okay. Let's see if it's sweep back here. I think a little bit, cause yeah. So think about the heel, like the ball of the foot. It's gonna move this bone right here. It's not gonna just be the toes cutting off right here. It'll go around like ergonomically or topology wise to here somewhat. So just trying to take that into consideration. And it's a lot easier with her. Good suggestion for pick with pick because of her foot is not just a shoe. And you know, things would be different with a shoe. It might more just be like just black and white of just this zone and that's it. But because it's a foot, I'm trying to make sure I see all the topology move properly. Barefoot, I mean. So okay. Trying to see. There's a weird gradient here. Just gotta make sure to average that probably. But again, positive clipping is always good, not always just a gradient. But let's see. I think it's just some vertice right here. Let me smear it a bit. Okay, way too much. Let me put it down here. Still really intense. How does that look? Let's see. Well, I feel like tomato on this one. It like does the same goodness. There we go. Just move that up. Okay. Well, that's that toe. So let's pull it down. And let's see. The toes might have already been, accommodated for in a healthy way. Let me just pull that a little bit there. Maybe that same way for this one. Well, let's see. Yeah, use that. Okay. And let's go back up to up and just see how it goes. Oh, but then I made it sharp there a little bit. Just a little bit. So I'm going to try going to the radial. But then it just does that. So, okay. Good enough. Let's see this part right here. Just take some away from that. Okay. Alright, I think that was precise enough for the toe, so let's go into the rotation. Looks like a toe work to me. Or where the toe bone, resides. So okay, so what I'm gonna show you guys now. Before I show you guys have any questions before I do the last part, which is basically cleaning, making sure there's no like 0-0 weights or almost 0-0 weights?
No questions from me right now.
Okay. Yeah, we'll chill.
Alright. So now I have the model, and keep in mind you would have to do this for all the meshes that you paint weighted for. So I'm clicking, selecting it all. Luckily it's just a single mesh for this demonstration. I'm going to the weights tab, and this is what the order you have to do. And this is going to work for all of the vertex groups, so you don't have to do it every single vertex group. So, and again, let me click on one of these and show. So, see this 0? It's not actually 0 because it should be removed. So, we're actually going to take care of that. Weight, select all. Go to limit total. 4,195 vertex weights limited. And so that means it did it to 4 groups. So that means it just optimized and maximized only 4 vertex groups for a vertice. Some might have had like 6, but that's only because it got spammed with nearly 0 weight. Alright, so we did that, and now we're going to do clean. And it just cleans it to basically, I think all the nearly 0 or all the zeros are going to go away. And now we're going to click normalize, so it does the best gradual gradient balance of all. And now let's see what happens when we click a vertex. So it still has the 0, 0, 0, right? So if those 3 steps don't work, what you can do is use the script that Carlos has. I don't have it loaded in this startup file, but I will open it. So this is what I do. Carlos made a script back then, and it does those 3 steps that I did, but it usually makes sure of it. So I have the mesh selected right there. I'm going to click the script, and you can be in object mode or weight paint for this script. Click run script, and go back to modeling, and let's see. Now it still has the 0, 0, 0. So let's see if we can do that same 3 steps again and see if it takes care of it. Didn't really take care of it for all of it, but and then we can try that script again. Usually it should do it immediately, these things, but yeah. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit hip, and we're gonna drag it. Now we see some weights that have apparently no weight. So we're gonna click on that and see where that should go. This is the butt. I don't even know why this. Maybe I must have not highlighted it properly, or took the removed the weights entirely. So we can go right here. Let me go into select the circle, or select circle mode, so you can select all these. Let me go and just oh, not X-ray mode, just select them all. Okay. So you can see when you're in hip, it's not connected to hip, so it looks like it might be connected to the LegL. So right here, let's see what happens when we just add that. Make the weight go up, linear, boom. Just any kind of vertice weight at all would help it. And so let's go back to the hip bone and just clear all transformations. You're moving it again, and there's not going to be any of that weird distortion thing. Okay. And so let's select everything again. Okay. And let's just make sure that the leg moves okay, although we're going to still rebalance with those 3 steps again. Yeah, so the leg mark moves perfectly fine. I mean, we put barely any weight on that weird stray vertice thing. So clicking that mesh, and then weights, limit total, clean, normalize. And when you do those 3 steps, it should be smash ready and have no issues. So that is how you rig. Yeah, I mean, that's how I rig. And there's more advanced levels, like let me refer back to the thread real quick. So I did all the steps that I said I was going to do. I didn't do the skeleton and bone stuff, but we can do that maybe another time. Now the CATS plugin, I showed you guys right here. It's useful for a lot of things. You can see all what you can do with it. Now I didn't use it much, but I would use it for keeping a pose locked how I wanted it to, like I showed earlier. Let's see, anything else. I didn't demonstrate IK. You know, IK is basically if you were to move a hand, it would naturally animate based off how it's paint weighted. And it has other features. You guys probably exposed to IK before. And then there's also custom bone shapes. So I could there could be like a little figure 8 or something right here, for example, and I can just drag that figure 8, and usually that's connected to your IK, and then you can move that instead of clicking a thin bone or whatever, and that would work a lot better. But these are more advanced rig additions that I never really needed for Smash Ultimate rigging, and that's why I haven't really committed to just learning it yet, even though I know it's simple to come across. And then helper bones. I know helper bones are in Smash, and then you can create helper bones to assist any rigging or paint weights, but I again haven't needed to use that so much. And then I see also constraints is also something you would use with helper bones and whatnot, and that could also help your rigging even more be accurate. And that's more, these things are more applicable to higher poly meshes compared to lower poly. Anyway, so I think that covers everything, and I listed some guides and like videos and stuff and references in this thread. I linked in the server channel, or that thread. So is there any questions you guys have from this process?
So far, that seems pretty straightforward. Yeah, don't have any questions.
Nice. Well,
maybe when I try it, you know, I'll have some questions then,
Yeah.
but until then, this might have covered everything.
Yeah, this is way simpler than I thought it would be. You made it like way easier than like my anxiety was telling me.
yeah, I figured there's like Oh, what'd you say?
I mean, it's a good I mean, that's trying to be a compliment.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I was gonna say that a lot of things in, modding or Blender or applications, sometimes there's just something that is seems stumping and seems so overwhelming and whatnot, or just complicated, or just like weird to grasp. But I was lucky that I could learn it and it became easy. And I was before rigging, I was also intimidated by it, maybe in a similar light. So. I guess the last thing I'll do is just show you, like, I'll rotate here, and then you can rotate the vanilla one, and it looks like the same. Just to show that it's not like super custom weights that shouldn't look, like vanilla or whatever. I made it like how it should look naturally, right? And that would match vanilla naturally. So, yeah. Well, anything else, I guess? Seems like no, right? Um, so, okay, did you guys want me to save this file, or
Oh, sure.
I don't know how applicable it is to utilize it. Maybe if you wanted to do the other side manually, right?
I
Yeah.
mean,
Could be
it's
something.
good. I think it would be good to have like a reference, I guess, like, for specific. I mean,
Yeah, I always save as things, even if I don't need them, just because I'm adverse to, like, quit without saving.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm going to definitely upload this zipped, and let me see. I need to save to folder. This will be called Beginner Rigging Blender Examples, and I'll just Wii Fit Example 1, and I'll send that to you guys. So I hope it helps you, and definitely practice, but at least you'll have the video and maybe what you observe to reference, and hopefully makes you more comfortable with getting into it.
Yeah,
oh yeah.
I'd say.
Nice. So I guess I'm gonna end this video, and I know I talked a lot, so thanks for bearing with me. It seems that I was connected to this channel for almost 3 hours.
Hey,
I
that's pretty good.
Yeah, I only attended it for um, less than an hour, but I guess things happen, so thanks for bearing with me.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah,
So,
it didn't feel like 3 hours. Like, I would have guessed
oh yeah,
maybe like 2.
I know, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say so too. So I guess that's it. I'm gonna take a breather and then eat, and I'll send this to in that thread, and hope you guys have a good night.
Great. Have a good
Thank
one.
you.
Peace. Peace.
Thanks.
Peace
See
out.
you.